Hey there, everyone. We are nearly there. And what I mean by that is Pluto back in Capricorn. As I record this, probably about an hour out from its arrival. So that's the big news this week. And this video is going to be outlining the horoscopes actually from the 2nd through to the 8th. And most of this week's writing is inspired by Pluto in Capricorn once again. So if you do have a planet or an angle in your birth chart at 28 degrees of any of the cardinal signs being Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, then you're going to be feeling this experience. So I would say even going far back as 28, possibly 27. Of course, we're all going to feel it to a certain degree, depending on which house of your birth chart is ruled by the sign of Capricorn. So for the next 10 weeks, we are going to be looking back at a journey that first began back in 2008. Now, there's a lot of talk out there, a lot of doom out there in respect to this transit. And for sure, there are going to be some individuals that are not going to experience this transit as sunshine and roses, that's for sure. That being said, though, this is also not our first rodeo. And sometimes the opportunity to reopen something you don't want to look at again can actually help you realize how far you've come. And the energy of Capricorn is cardinal earth, that initiating quality to build something that's Saturnian and long term. When I think about the energy of Pluto and Capricorn, and I had my own Pluto and Capricorn stories, believe me. And what it brought out in me was just this inner grit. This obstacle would come and thwart me to some extent. And this kind of resolve really came out. And the thought here was, I haven't come this far to come this far. And so if you are feeling a little bit worried about this transit, there is this message for you, I guess, is we haven't come this far to come this far. And sometimes we do have to revisit the thing we don't want to revisit. And sometimes we realize that through things that are otherwise difficult. So if you are feeling a little bit dragged down by the heaviness and the weight of this, if you are starting to think, oh, I don't want to have to endure what I've endured before with this transit, chances are it's not going to be like that. At some point in the Pluto story of uh, death, life, rebirth, that rebirth happens. That butterfly comes out of the cocoon, spreads its wings, and lives a glorious time pollinating all the flowers. So there is that idea there that at some point we do have to be reborn from something. And in addition, we also have Uranus in Taurus is stationing retrograde at 27 degrees. So it's these late degrees of the earth signs in particular that are quite active. And of course, when we're looking at these big planetary stations and degrees and things like that, usually we want to be looking at the fixed signs because that's the harder angle. So when we're talking Taurus, we also have to consider Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Now, why I bring up the Taurus component, Uranus, is this is going to be the last station retrograde that Uranus will have in Taurus for about 85 years. So, or 84, I should say. So while Uranus will still have some time in Taurus, it'll move into Gemini next year and come back into Taurus, but this is the last station retrograde. So as Pluto comes back into Capricorn, as Uranus makes its last station in Taurus into Earth signs, this week is really about how can you approach Pluto in Capricorn's re-entrance into Capricorn with a attitude or an ethos of understanding what you need to change, what needs to be more of an authentic choice, what you might need to liberate yourself from in some way. Have you been too rigid or too stuck? Or maybe you have been too frivolous with change and you've got a few regrets with that. Pluto and Capricorn, regardless of what your situation is, will ask you to dive in a little bit deeper, and again, recognize you haven't come this far to come this far. So there's a certain resolve, but you have to be able to change at the same time, which is such a difficult thing when we're talking about planets in Taurus, because Taurus, out of all of the signs of the zodiac, is the most not just resistant to change, it is actively resistant to change. And so Uranus is really rattling that Taurus cage in wherever Taurus is for you in your birth chart. And this is your, again, last hurrah, like Pluto and Capricorn. This is, obviously it's not going to be the last hurrah in Taurus, but there's something with the station retrograde. This is your last chance to redo, reconfigure, reassess, reanalyze, rework all these Uranus in Taurus themes that started for you in 2018. Alrighty, there's my little rant for the week. So I do hope that that's helped you kind of, how to put into words, I guess, how to work with these energies, in a more of a broader brushstroke type of way. As far as the month of September is concerned, the members of the Golden Circle now have all their material for the month. We did our new moon call last night. So if you are wanting to get more insight, tips, advice on how to work with this energy in September, the Golden Circle is the place to do that. So the links to find out more information about that astrology offering is in the description below. So without further ado, let's get into the horoscopes for September 2 through to 8. Okay, so this is the intro, and then we go through and do all the 12 signs. A lot happens this week. It will set the tone not just for the week ahead, but for the rest of 2024 and beyond. You're being called to reopen an old chestnut you hoped you wouldn't have to. You know how they say lessons repeat until they're learned? What have you been trying to learn since 2008? What kind of karmic issues seem to come back and haunt you over and over since then? This may sound daunting, and for some, it will be. That said, 2008 was a long time ago, and you're a completely different person now. Chances are, as soon as you crack open that chestnut, things won't be as bad as you expected. Even if they are, you have until November to put things right. How might you do this, you may ask? Make the changes you've been avoiding. Take the risk you've been uncertain about. Discover just how powerful you are. God helps those who help themselves, and no one is coming to save you. Do what you have to do this week to cross the T's, dot the I's. Take the action you know is required. It matters not how much you feel like it or not. That's Mars in Cancer. Okay, Aries, you've spent a long time attempting to reach a certain point in your life. You've considered the pinnacle. Now that you're almost at the top of the mountain, do you even like the view? Maybe you've already set your sights on the next mountain you wish to climb and you've lost focus. Something even worse is possible. Perhaps you're filled with regret because you never even took the first step. Regardless of where you're at, it's not too late, but it's going to take a hell of a lot of work. Your only challenge is to remain focused. You can do it. Taurus, don't hold on to a mistake just because you spent a long time making it. For some time now, you've been learning the art of change, especially when it comes to being authentic. So if you've been feeling stuck in something, then unstuck yourself. Consider a holiday, an adventure, or do something that opens your mind to a different worldview. Review your bucket list. The world is your oyster now in more ways than one. So go and experience it. If need be, ask for forgiveness rather than permission. Gemini, what would it take for you to feel secure in the world? Is it money? Is it being debt-free? Owning your own home? At a deeper level, is the security you seek more of an inside job? We all have skeletons in the closet we try and hide, but they are still there. Over the next several weeks, you have a rare chance to do one last final cleanup in an area of life you prefer to avoid. When you open that proverbial closet, chances are it's not as dark or as scary as you think it is. Cancer, it's important to remember as you enter this week and this month that relationships have their own kind of cycle. Like two sets of train tracks, they come close together and then they veer out again. Someone special in your life may feel like this. It doesn't have to be a massive drama when you understand that you may be entering a cycle where things feel shaky again. Rather than be reactive, be proactive. Confidently ask for what you want and need. That is the only way you'll know whether you'll get it. Leo, there are times when it doesn't matter how much work you do, your efforts go without thanks. Sure, there are labors of love in life. Then there are other labors where you feel like little more than a slave. A living hell for any Leo, to be sure. Are you okay with this? While you may have to put your nose back to the grindstone for the next couple of months, it will be the last time you have to. Just be sure that the stone you choose now is worth grinding on. Virgo, it can be really difficult to say what you do for fun. It's easy when you're 10, but when you've grown, it may be a case of remembering what fun even is. Over the next couple of months, the cosmos gives you a rare opportunity to rediscover what true joy means to you, whether it's indulging in a hobby, sport, or recreation, finding more love and romance in your life, or something to do with children. Your life is set to become transformed. Everything you ever wanted is back within reach, so grab it. Libra, if your domestic life isn't what you wanted it to be, then you have an opportunity to drastically change it. Maybe it's your location or the quality of relationships within your family or housemates. But one way or another, you have to take control of things. You've been working so diligently to let go of some of your ingrained habits. But when it comes to family, those aren't so easy to shift. The only way you can fully transform your situation is to, one way or another, take your power back. Scorpio, you do hold the right to change your mind about things. The thing is, you don't change your mind very easily. However, being open to a changed perspective is required. Whatever it is that you've been curious about or have needed to improve in terms of communication with others, then you need to double down on that. You can choose to double down on an issue, or you can choose to change. If you choose to go for the jugular on something, just make sure it's worth it, or just leave things be. Sagittarius, when it comes to money, you have another chance over the next couple of months to understand what financial empowerment means for you. Is it earning more? Is it finding more streams of income? Is it finally having the confidence to chase a money dream? Some old fears from the past may test you, but just remember that's all part of the process. The more daunting things feel, the more you know you're exactly where you need to be. Things are changing, and this time it is for the better. Capricorn, life may feel like a series of tests and challenges over the next little while that you're unlikely to enjoy very much. That said, life isn't meant to get easier. You're just meant to get stronger. The good news is you're now stronger than you've ever been. With this newfound strength, you now have to do something you've never done. It may be scary, and it should be. If it isn't, then aim higher for yourself. All you've ever wanted is finally within reach. Reach out and take it. Aquarius, you can breathe a sigh of relief that some of the pressure you've been under has finally lifted. Don't get too confident or complacent, though, as this break is temporary. You can make the most of this breathing room to do exactly that. Breathe, rest, relaxation. Even a little bit of meditation would help you a lot now. The more you pay attention to your inner voice, the better the decisions and choices you'll make when the pressure returns, and it most definitely will. Don't be complacent, be proactive and positive. Pisces, an old issue with a group, a community you're involved with, or a friend could resurface. Just when you thought a tricky situation was done and dusted, you're having to reopen old wounds or old feelings. You've been learning a lot lately about personal boundaries and committing to what is right for you. That said, it's ultimately up to you how much of other people's stuff you want to take on or not. The next few months will reveal one way or another who your true friends really are. So there we have it. Horoscopes for this week, September 2 to 8. My next video, I'm going to be doing the Mars in Cancer through all the houses. So I'll get that out to you in the next few days. As for now, I'll say goodbye and I hope you have a really great week ahead.